Also, I'm going to just zoom in here so we can see this a little bit better. We're going to select the selection tool, and the selection tool can also manipulate lines and fills. Now, I'm going to show you the difference between lines and fills in a little while, but for now, let me just show you how it will manipulate fills, and that's anything that you draw with a paintbrush or with the paint bucket. So what we can do is we can come here on the edge of the brush stroke, and notice how it shows this little arc thing underneath the cursor. That means that if we click there, we're going to be able to edit, or we're going to be able to manipulate this paintbrush. And so we click, hold down, and then we can drag this around, and we can actually change this paintbrush, which it becomes very useful when you want to go through and kind of modify a paintbrush that you've created to try and make it smoother or look the way you want it. The same thing works. We're just going to get rid of this black outline. Same thing works for a fill. They're basically the same thing. And so you can use this selection tool to select objects, move them around, or manipulate brush strokes or fills or lines, which I'm going to tell you about in a little while. So just one more tool I'm going to show you, and that's the free transform tool. And this, or at least the one more tool before we go on to talking about lines, but this free transform tool can do everything that the selection tool can do, but it can do a little bit more too. So it selects, you can see it creates a grainy thing, and you can move stuff around. You can also manipulate fills and lines with the free transform tool. But if you'll notice, when we select, it puts this box around the object that's selected, and what this box does is it makes it so we can transform this thing freely, which is why it's called the free transform tool. So you click and hold down on one of these little boxes, and you're able to skew the object that's selected. You can do that with any one of these. You can downsize it, or make it bigger, whatever you need to do. But also, you can rotate it using the free transform tool. And the way you do that is you hold your cursor right next to the corner of this, click and hold down, and you're going to be able to spin the object around just like I'm showing you right now. But what's important to know is, notice this little dot in the middle. That is the rotation point. So right now that rotation point is right in the middle of the object we selected, so when we rotate this, it moves in a just nice little circle. But if we want to rotate it from somewhere else, we'll click on the center spot and we'll drag it over to where we want it to be. So we'll put it right there, and then suddenly this object is rotating around that spot. It's very useful when it comes to animating. You're going to be using this tool a lot. So that's the free transform tool. I'm just going to zoom back out using this hand tool. We'll double click on it, zoom out, and I'm going to clear the stage. The way I'm going to do this is I'm going to click Control All, and it's going to select everything on the stage, and then I'm just going to push backspace, which will delete everything that's selected. So now we've got a clean slate. I'm going to show you how to use the line tool, and that's this one right here. If you just click on it, then essentially the line tool, just how it sounds, allows you to draw lines. So you can just the way you use this tool is you click somewhere and then drag over to the spot where you want the line to end, and it creates the line between the two spots. So the first spot you clicked and the spot where you let go of the click, and it creates a line. Now, just like I said, we're going to select the transform tool, and we're able to manipulate the line that we just created, like this. It's very useful. There's all kinds of stuff you can do with this. If you want to create an intersection, we can cross these lines up like this, and suddenly that creates a new point, and we can just manipulate this part, and it's not changing this part, right? So then we can delete these lines, and there's all kinds of stuff you can do with that. Now, another way that you can create lines other than line tool, I'm just going to delete this, is with the pencil tool. Now the pencil tool is just like line. It creates lines, but instead of dragging and dropping from one point to another, you're able to draw like you do with the brush tool. So you can just draw these lines, and then we'll select the selection tool, and you can manipulate them or do whatever you need to do. So that's another way that you're able to draw lines, is with the pencil tool. You'll notice down here when the pencil tool is selected, you come down to the options, and you can choose different kinds of line. It's kind of like the smoothing options for the brush, except for you can choose smooth, and we'll draw a line, and let's choose straighten, and we'll draw a line, and choose ink, and we'll draw a line. To be perfectly honest, I'm not seeing a whole lot of difference between those. I don't actually use the pencil tool that often. Usually if I need a line, I use the line tool and then I manipulate it using the selection tool, or I use just a brush to draw outlines.